The next test we're going to talk about is the GPL TOX. So you should have a GPL TOX test. It's the same urine box test kit. It's also a urine sample. And you can use the same urine sample to check multiple things. You just check off the little boxes. And so the GPL TOX checks 172 chemical contaminants. So there's a little brochure here that tells all the things that it checks. But it checks your solvents and your paint thinners and your fuel additives and your organophosphates, which are a lot of pesticides and herbicides, endocrine disruptors, jet fuel is one of the things it checks. 2,4-D, which is an extremely toxic compound used in Agent Orange during the war that is sprayed in yards and farms all over the world to kill weeds. So the thing about neurotoxins or chemical toxins, they're almost all neurotoxins, which means they damage and hurt the nervous system. So again, if you're struggling with chronic illness, you don't have any answers, you have a child who's autistic, or you have a severe diagnosis of a Parkinson's or an MS or a cancer or whatever, there's likely a toxicity in the body. And even women, with fertility issues or whatever, because a lot of these neurotoxins are endocrine disruptors. So they're going to interfere with the natural hormone function and hormone production of the human body. And so you are going to want to check to see if you have any chemical toxicity. And the way you read the test, just so you know, is almost everybody has some level of these chemical toxins in their body. Why? Because you got them from mom at birth, because you've all been exposed to chemicals and toxins and poisons through your tap water. If you ever drink tap water throughout your life, you put a lot of chemicals and poisons in your body. They basically chlorinate it so you don't get infectious disease, but most of the chemical poisons are in there. And children, adults, it doesn't matter. We're all exposed to these toxins. People live on farms. People spray pesticides for a living. People work in mines and, just all around toxins. So if this reaches into the 75th percentile, it's more than we'd like it to be. It's not considered necessarily toxic, but that's getting too high. We don't like that. If it's in the 95th percentile and beyond, it's considered toxic. And sometimes we check these, and the 95th percentile number is whatever, and that person is 4, 5, 6 times higher than even the toxic level. So when you have that type of extreme toxicity, it's likely a reason why you're struggling with your health, or why you're sick, or why your liver's all plugged up, or your nervous system's not working right, or maybe again you having trouble with fertility, or whatever the issue is. It can be from these chemical toxins. So that is the GPL TOX. Pretty simple, straightforward test. I won't go through every category. I've heard some crazy stories. I had a gal who was super high in perchlorates, which is jet fuel or rocket fuel. And it's like, how can you possibly be high in rocket fuel? And it turns out for the first 13 years of her life, she grew up on an army base with her parents because her dad was in the military. And there is rocket fuel in the tap water. Yippee! So if you lived anywhere near farms or in farming community, you probably were drinking herbicides and pesticides through your tap water the majority of your life. Or again, there's so many reasons people get these toxins, but they can be severely debilitating to the body and cause a lot of problems. So you want to check it out.